Well, we are definitely in uncharted waters when it comes to the world of sport right at the moment. Let's look at some of our major codes and begin with AFL. Now, AFL has made the announcement today that they will now have a 17-round competition, not a 23-round competition. Now, if a player is diagnosed with COVID-19, they will then close the competition down for 2 weeks. But they're going out and trying to guarantee a 17-round competition. Now, this may mean that the whole competition is pushed back deeper and deeper into the back end of 2020. And that does pose some problems, of course, because you have the Men's T20 World Cup where grounds are being used. So could this be a year where we see the AFL Grand Final not played at the MCG? Now, on top of this, players are expected to, well, we're expecting players to be asked to take a pay cut. Now, that makes it very, very difficult. Scott Pendlebury, the Collingwood captain, is in self-isolation at the moment, having had a test for coronavirus. So AFL at the moment, without a ball being kicked in anger, like all sports, not only here in Australia but around the world, with some huge challenges. But that is the latest news to this point. A 17-round competition, and they need to service so many people, don't they? They are a little more insulated than the game of rugby league when you think about clubs' individual memberships, particularly those really strong established clubs. But then you look at the NRL and you see the Manly owner, Scott Penn, coming out, like Peter V'landys did, asking for federal government money because they really are in dire straits. The clubs, that is, particularly the clubs that aren't these strong, robust clubs like the Brisbane Broncos, and they rely so heavily not only on the TV deal but people coming through the gate and everything that goes with it. So the NRL is going to charge ahead with round 2. They have New Zealand based up in northern New South Wales, ready to play on the Gold Coast, but that is really a band-aid solution right at the moment. You wouldn't expect New Zealand and their players to be prepared to stay here in Australia for any length of time. So does New Zealand stay in the competition? And if that happens, do they get players that aren't contracted elsewhere on some special deal? I'm not quite sure. Or do the NRL try to forge ahead without a New Zealand? That would make it a 15-team competition where they would have a bye. Each team would have a bye. So plenty of things in the air for both the AFL and the NRL. The A-League has made the announcement today that they will play the remainder of their season and they'll play it without a crowd. They'll also play their grand final, so that's the A-League. Racing, horse racing, we are right smack bang in the middle of the Autumn Racing Carnival. This Saturday, the richest 2-year-old race in the world, the Golden Slipper at Rosehill, will be run and won without a crowd. So the Australian Turf Club put out a release today talking about Saturday. They're saying that they're trying to work within the principle of having 500 people there. Racing is a sport which you're going to lose a lot by not having a crowd, but you also can still function quite well in the sense as long as there's enough broadcast there for people to watch it at home, have the odd little dabble here and there with their head not over it, obviously. But so the Golden Slipper, but unprecedented. They would have expected a crowd over 20,000. The other thing that we're talking about here is stakeholders. We saw it with the Grand Prix on Sunday. So many stakeholders, from the billionaires that at the top end of motor racing, to those students that came and worked, and vendors, from the man who ran the souvlaki stand. So many people affected by the Grand Prix, and that dovetails through every single sport. So many people are being affected at the moment. Junior sport has been cancelled, so a lot of parents are needing to think about, okay, how do we make sure that our kids stay fit? Because zone carnivals are being cancelled, camps are being cancelled, all sorts of organised sport is being cancelled. There are challenges at the moment like we haven't seen for a long, long time. The world of sport, it's going to look very, very different in 2020.